ChatGPT's longest outage ever reveals how dependent we've become on AI. Wikipedia pauses AI summary experiment after negative feedback from editors. 15% of 23andMe customers are seeking data deletion as bankruptcy sale proceeds. And Google's Gemini may have finally fixed the most frustrating thing about spreadsheet charts. Welcome to Hashtag Trending. I'm your host, Dr. Hema June12, sitting in for Jim Love. ChatGPT went down for over 12 hours on June 10th, and user reactions were revealing. AI has become a bigger part of our lives than we may have realized. The longest outage in ChatGPT's history affected millions worldwide, but it also exposed our growing dependency on AI for everything from work emails to basic decisions. Staff at Tom's Guide described how, when ChatGPT went offline, many people felt stuck, mid-thought, mid-project, mid-prompt, more than an inconvenience. It was a reminder of how deeply AI has been integrated into our daily lives, especially in the workplace. Social media filled with panic and self-aware humor. CNN reported one X post that read, "ChatGPT is down," which means I actually have to type out my own emails at work. Send prayers. On Reddit, someone posted, "I can't code without ChatGPT." Okay, I can. But I am too dependent on ChatGPT to do the grunt work. LOL. On Blue Sky, one newsletter writer joked, "ChatGPT is down, yet amazingly, I am somehow still able to write." The real problem can be found behind this humor. Tech Radar noted, "The despair we're all feeling right now with a lack of ChatGPT is genuinely something to behold. I'm by no means a regular ChatGPT user. In fact, I only use OpenAI's chatbot for testing, so I can write about ways that it can improve your life." The numbers reveal how massive the scale of disruption was. OpenAI reported in February 2025 that it had more than 400 million weekly active users worldwide. Workplace ChatGPT usage has doubled in the past year. Some 26% of U.S. teens now use chat for schoolwork, up from 13% in 2023. Recent research by OpenAI and MIT found that heavy users showed signs of a serious codependency. Bloomberg interviewed one such user who said, "I was trusting it so much that I lost faith in my own decisions and thought process." Now that's a real codependency. The outage lasted over 12 hours, affecting ChatGPT, APIs, and Sora video tool before OpenAI restored service without explaining what went wrong. The Wikimedia Foundation paused a planned trial of AI-generated summaries because it received overwhelmingly negative feedback from Wikipedia's editor community, and this highlights implementation challenges on collaborative platforms. Wikimedia had announced plans to test AI-generated summaries on mobile Wikipedia to solve a real accessibility problem. Many articles on the platform are dense and filled with technical language that's difficult for readers with different education levels. So here's what they proposed. Using Cohere's AI model, the system would create simplified summaries at the top of the articles. These would be clearly marked as machine-generated with yellow unverified warnings that users could click to expand. The idea came from Wikimedia's 2024 conference, where editors discussed making Wikipedia more accessible through AI while maintaining quality standards. But the editors responded with, "Very bad idea, strongest possible oppose," and simply grinning with horror. One editor warned that the summaries would do immediate an irreversible harm to our readers and to our reputation as a decently trustworthy and serious source. The deeper concern was about editorial control. While human editors can introduce individual bias, a user explained as a collective mass, it evens out into a beautiful corpus. They worried AI summaries would essentially give one singular editor with known reliability issues a platform at the very top of any given article. Wikimedia quickly backtracked. Within a day, they paused the experiment. We could have done a better job introducing this idea, a project manager admitted, saying they should have provided more context and community engagement. However, they haven't given up. A spokesperson emphasized they're still exploring accessibility solutions, but we do not have any plans for bringing a summary feature without editor involvement. An editor moderation workflow is required under all circumstances. This episode shows how even well-intentioned AI features can face resistance without proper community consultation. Nearly 2 million 23andMe customers have requested their genetic data be deleted after the company filed for bankruptcy in March, highlighting privacy concerns as the DNA testing company heads towards a sale. Interim CEO Joseph Salsavage told House lawmakers Tuesday that 1.9 million people, about 15% of the customer base, have asked for deletion since the bankruptcy filing. The requests reflect customer concerns that their genetic information could end up with an unscrupulous buyer. So here's what's happening with the sale. The pharmaceutical giant Regeneron won the court-approved auction in May, offering $256 million for 23andMe and its banks of customer DNA and genetic data. Regeneron says it plans to use the data for drug discovery research and has committed to maintaining 23andMe's current privacy practices. A federal bankruptcy court is expected to consider Regeneron's bid later this month. But this sale faces legal challenges. More than 24 states, including Florida, New York, and Pennsylvania, sued 23andMe on Tuesday to block the sale. The states argue that the company cannot sell its 15 million customers' private genetic data without their explicit permission. The bankruptcy comes at a particularly sensitive time for 23andMe's data security reputation. Last year, the company experienced a months-long data breach that exposed 6.9 million customers' sensitive personal and genetic information. The company initially blamed customers for not using multi-factor authentication rather than acknowledging its own security failures. These numbers show us the level of customer anxiety. While 15% have requested deletion of their data, that still leaves roughly 10.8 million customers whose data will transfer to Regeneron if the sale goes through. The deletion request suggests many customers who originally consented to 23andMe's data practices are uncomfortable with their genetic information being sold as part of a bankruptcy proceeding. Salsavage testified during a House Oversight Committee hearing examining the privacy and national security implications of the sale. These proceedings are actually addressing a bigger question. What is the fate of your sensitive personal data when companies that hold that data fail? Anyone who has tried to create a chart in Excel knows the pain. Getting something basic is easy, but making it actually useful, especially on a deadline, that can be frustrating. Google thinks Gemini has solved this. The company just announced that Gemini can now create fully editable charts in Google Sheets, not just static images. This addresses one of the most annoying quirks in spreadsheet software: charts that look decent initially, but become a time sink when you need to refine them. So here's how it works. Fire up Gemini in the Google Sheets side panel and enter a prompt like, create a chart with date on the x-axis and total on the y-axis. So Gemini creates the chart in the side panel and then inserts it on a new tab where you can edit titles, colors, and other attributes. But the game changer is the following. When you change data in your spreadsheet, the chart automatically updates to reflect those changes. No more recreating charts from scratch every time your numbers shift. Previously, Gemini could only generate charts as static images that you could move around or paste over cells, but couldn't actually edit. Google notes this offers far more flexibility than previous situations where charts were flat and uneditable. The use cases are immediately obvious. Marketing managers can analyze campaign performance across different sectors without rebuilding visualizations. Small business owners can track cash flow across projects as numbers change throughout the month, and anyone presenting data that's still undergoing changes can update their charts in real time. Google is rolling this out across multiple workspace tiers, including Business Standard and Plus, Enterprise levels, and various Gemini add-on packages. It's also available for Google AI Pro and Ultra users. So this tackles a genuine productivity pain point, literally. Creating effective data visualization shouldn't require becoming a chart expert, especially when you're racing against deadlines. If Gemini delivers on making good charts as simple as describing what you want, it could actually change how people work with data. And that's our show. We love to hear your comments. You can reach us at editorial@technewsday.ca. Our Project Synapse team will be back with a new show this weekend. Listen for it starting tomorrow morning. I'm your host, Dr. Hema June12. Jim will be back on Monday. Have a fabulous Friday.